DATV, and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters present Meet the Candidates, your chance to learn about the candidates running for office in the November election.
Hello, I am Jane McGee-Raffel of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area. I am here today with Kim Melnick and Tony Shane, who are running for the Court of Common Pleas. We will start our interviews by giving the candidate each 1 minute to talk about themselves and explain why they want to serve on the court. Kim, would you like to start off, please?
Sure. Well, my name is Kim Melnick. I am one of your Montgomery County Common Pleas Court judges currently. I have extensive experience in criminal trials. I have been practicing as an attorney in January will be 29 years. And the primary focus of my practice throughout the years has been criminal law. I was a prosecuting attorney here and elsewhere for about 26 years. Over 22 to 23 of those years has been right here in Montgomery County, Ohio. I was born and raised here, and I grew up in Centerville. I currently live in Dayton. I went to Wright State University, and I went to the University of Dayton Law School. I have tried all kinds of complex cases and am more than familiar with the courtroom and the procedures, and now have been on the bench for several months.
Thank you. Tony, would you tell us about yourself and why you want to serve on the court?
Yes, my name is Tony Shane. I'm running for this position because I love this community. I grew up in this community as one of 5 children. My wife also grew up in this community as one of 5 children. We've been married for the past 20 years, raising 2 children in this community. I view the judgeship as being a servant of the community and being part of that community. That's how I want to serve the community. I've been practicing law in all areas that come before the Common Pleas Court. I did complex business litigation. I did criminal defense. I did criminal prosecution. That's where I've been working for the last 11 years at the prosecutor's office. My goal in all this is to hopefully, become a servant of the community that I'm involved in, to run a fair courtroom for rich, poor, black, white, Democrat, Republican, and my goal is to be the servant of the court.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I'm going to ask each candidate the same question. They will have 2 minutes to address it and to answer the question, and then I will move to the next candidate. And like I said, each of you have 2 minutes to respond. All right, Kim, the first question. What non-judicial legal experience qualifies you to be a judge?
Well, as I previously indicated, I have been a trial attorney pretty much my entire career of 29 years almost. I have tried every kind of criminal case, including complex financial cases. Most recently, before coming onto the bench and becoming a judge, I was trying only murder and other homicide-related cases with the Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office, and that was based on the amount of trial experience I have. As a Common Pleas Court judge, probably 85% of what I do every day revolves around criminal work, and I have extensive experience in that realm. I also, during a younger period of my career, left the prosecutor's office and did private practice, where I practiced primarily, I did some criminal defense, but I also practiced domestic relations and did probate work. So I do have other experience besides the prosecutor's office. I went back to the prosecutor's office because I enjoyed serving the community. I have basically been in public service pretty much my entire career, aside from a couple of years. And I've enjoyed serving the community in that respect, and I enjoy serving the community in my current respect as a Montgomery County Common Pleas Court judge. The trial experience I have lends to a a transition that has been easier than some people may have, because in the courtroom, I know the rules of evidence. I have argued the rules of evidence in my trial experience throughout my career, and that is primarily what I'm ruling on in the court, and then also doing written decisions from the office on the civil matters, and doing civil trials as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Tony, the same question. What non-judicial legal experience qualifies you to be a judge?
Yes, thank you. I think to understand the question and the response, you have to understand what the Common Pleas Court does. And the Common Pleas Court handles all the felonies that come through the county, and it also handles any civil case that is seeking relief of over $15,000. I think I'm a unique candidate in this election. I started my career at a firm called Faruqi, Ireland and Cox. They do complex business litigation. I worked there for several years. I then went out into private practice where I focused on criminal defense work. I was trying cases across counties, including Montgomery County, Preble County, Greene County, Miami County. At a certain point, I decided I wanted to become a prosecutor, and I've been doing that the last 11 years. So I believe I'm the only candidate in this election cycle who can say they have all the experiences that come in front of the court, has basically acted as counsel defending somebody facing murder charges, acted as counsel as somebody prosecuting murder charges, and then worked in firms that handle those types of civil cases that come in front of the court. So, I've been a trial attorney in all those years. I likewise know the rules of evidence, but I also understand the stresses of each type of practitioner. So a criminal defense attorney, I understand the pressures they're going through, a prosecutor, a civil litigator, and I also understand the stresses of the clients that they handle. So I think I'm a unique candidate in the sense that I've done all those things, and I'm prepared, and I'm ready to serve the county in the capacity as a Common Pleas Court judge.
Thank you. Tony, I'm going to start you off with the second question. What alternatives to incarceration do you support?
As far as this question, I think you need to analyze the types of crimes that are committed. And I think there's two sort of categories of crimes that are committed. There's crimes that frustrate the community, and there's crimes that are dangerous to the citizens of the community. And when I say that, the crimes that frustrate the community would be, drug addiction, possession, nonviolent crimes. I do think we need to start analyzing different methods of treatment for those crimes. I think the Common Pleas Court has done a good job with specialized courts, women's courts, veterans courts, mental health court. I support all those things for those people because I don't think prison sentences are appropriate in those cases. I think it's better, and it better protects the community to try to get those defendants who are committing those types of crimes into treatment programs. I really believe in the course of this, I had a chance to visit the fathership program that's through Montgomery County. They do treatment for, not necessarily treatment, but they do mentorship for individuals who are exiting prison, and they try to teach them to be better fathers. I think if we can push those types of mentorship programs to individuals who are currently on probation, prior to prison, get them mentorship programs. In fact, have some of those people who have successfully completed, who have gone to prison, who have changed their lives, to have interactions with people who are on probation. I think that would be beneficial. Now, that later portion of crimes that are a danger to the citizens of the community, there is still a need for incarceration of those individuals to protect the community. But I think we can do a better job of trying to assess which of these treatment places are doing a good job with the people who are on probation, and trying to get them on their feet so they can be better citizens in Montgomery County.
Thank you. Kim, the same question. What alternatives to incarceration do you support?
Well, the court currently has several specialty courts. They have the Rise Court, which is for women who have drug addictions and oftentimes some mental health and or trauma in their background. We have the Mark Court, which is the men's kind of version of a drug court. We have our Veterans Court, which serves any veteran, whether they've been in active combat or not, as long as they were honorably discharged. We have our mental health docket, and we have a new court that has begun within the last year called the Kashinda Court. The Kashinda Court is for younger African American males who sort of have unique circumstances that need to be addressed. I support all of those courts, and I use those courts in my daily activities running the dockets that I have. There are also quite a few programs. We have all different kinds of treatment programs aside from those specialty courts. And those specialty courts, generally speaking, in an overall sense, the people involved in those courts are usually meeting with the court, not just their probation officers, but the courts themselves once a week to try to assist those individuals. There are mentors that are involved in those programs as well. However, I do believe very much so that there are certain individuals that those courts are not going to benefit, and that certain violent crimes, certain offenders that will not follow the rules and conditions of probation, will not engage in those services. There's no alternative at that point than a prison or a local jail sentence.
Thank you. Kim, I'm going to start you off with this third question. What changes, if any, in the cash bail system would you support?
Well, that's an interesting question because there's been a recent case that has come down from the Ohio Supreme Court, which has made a little bit of a change in our cash bail system. And the decision indicated that community safety cannot be a consideration when setting a monetary level of cash bond regarding criminal defendants. There are other things that you can put in place, such as an ankle monitor for home detention or electronic monitoring. There are no contact orders. There are those types of things. But even currently, in very limited situations, is the court allowed to address victim safety and community safety. And in order to do that, the court has the option to do what we call a no bond hold on certain types of cases, but those are on very specifically enumerated charges. And those hearings must be held within 3 days. And oftentimes the victim will have to come in and face their accuser in a very rapid fashion, which can be more victimization for certain people. So do I believe the court should use whatever alternatives to a high cash bail or bond? Yes. In nonviolent cases, I don't believe that those individuals need to be incarcerated. But in cases where the community safety and the victim safety are legitimate, then I think those things should be allowed to be considered by the court in setting those bonds. I think they have been in the past, and I think they should be in the future. I do recognize, however, that there can be jail overcrowding, and we need to do what we can to ferret out those individuals that don't need that.
Thank you. Tony, what changes, if any, in the cash bail system would you support?
Yes, and I think Kim referenced the DuBose case. That case did come out recently. Honestly, I haven't seen too many changes so far in the wake of that case on how the bonds are being set and the bail is being set in common pleas court. I think bail should be set in a way to one, ensure court appearances by the people who are going to appear before the court, but also to protect the community. And I think part of the problem that we have with the cash bail system is on the nonviolent offenses. You know, sometimes I think the judge sitting on the bench establishes what they believe to be a low cash bail. And that may be based on, you know, sort of implicitly what they think is a low monetary amount, but that may not be a low monetary amount to the individual in question. I think there's a lot of people in jail. I think we analyze this looking more at the highest level of offenders. And I think a lot of the people in the jail who are sitting over there are in on very low cash bails for misdemeanor offenses that are nonviolent. So I think we need to start, and that wouldn't necessarily be on the common pleas court side because we're not handling those cases, but I think there does need to be a discussion on how cash bail is being set on those lower level crimes. If the person is going to be coming to court, and give them the opportunity to show that they can do that. There's no point. You may think a $200 cash bail on a low level misdemeanor anybody can make, and that's just not true based on certain people's financial capabilities. So I think people should be given the option on those nonviolent offenses to show they're going to make their court dates. If they make their court dates, they should be out on conditional release. On the cases that pose a threat to the community safety, I think you need to have the proper hearings. I think those things are being assessed into cash bail even in the wake of the DeVos decision.
Thank you. We're at the close of the questioning period, and we are going to provide our candidates with a minute each for a closing statement. Tony, would you like to start your closing statement, please?
Yes, I just want to thank everybody for the opportunity to address this forum. I'm a candidate who's doing this, as I said at the beginning, because I love the community that I live in. I'm raising my kids here. I believe that I have the experience to do this job. I believe I'm a unique candidate that possesses all that experience. I'm very involved in the community. I think a judge should be a servant of the community. I'm involved through my parish, serving on parish council, serving on athletic boards. I coach youth sports year round. I believe I have a pulse of the community. I am endorsed by a variety of people, and I think I'm the only candidate who's being endorsed, by the Democratic mayor of Dayton and the Republican mayor of Kettering. So I believe that I've been able to go out and get support across a variety of different areas, and I think that's because of the person I am, and I seek to be a fair judge who will be fair to all who come in front of the court. I would like your vote on November 8th.
Thank you. Thank you. Kim, now would you please give us a closing statement in a minute?
Thank you. Well, again, my name is Kim Melnick. I am one of your current judges here in the Montgomery County Common Pleas Court. I have the experience in my 29 years to be qualified for this position. The trial experience I have is much more extensive than I would say any other candidate in the current judicial races. And I conduct a very fair and very respectful court. I believe that every individual in my courtroom deserves to be treated with respect, and I do treat them with respect. I am endorsed by all of the Fraternal Order of Police organizations. I think that's important to note, considering that both Mr. Shane and myself have been prosecuting attorneys, and that the Fraternal Order of Polices have all chosen to support me. I do realize that Mr. Shane is endorsed by Mayor Peggy Lehner, but what I don't know that people understand is that she is his family.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you both for your participation today, and best wishes on your campaign as they move forward. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run on issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and to strengthen our elective political process. The annual Voters Guide will be distributed in mid-October in the Dayton Daily News, AIM Media suburban newspapers, La Vanguardia, and local libraries, schools, and businesses. Early voting in the upcoming election begins on October 12th at your Board of Elections, and you can request an absentee ballot. However you decide to vote, your opinion matters, your vote counts, and help us make our democracy work. Thank you very much today.